How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this week's Q&A. So like any other week, if you want a chance on one of your questions being answered, make sure you drop a comment down below with that question, and I'll try to answer each and every question. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first question of the week. And it is about 10-speed transmissions and them being sort of clunky while shifting and particularly downshifting, and just sometimes just seeming like they don't really know what they want to do or just having some oddball shift points. So there's obviously a couple of different versions of these transmissions at this time. They're all the same ID, same design, but they're in different vehicles, starting off with the Accord, Odysseys, MDXs, TLXs, and things of that nature, etc., etc. So probably more of these transmissions will be implemented into newer vehicles as they come, including the new Passport, probably the Ridgeline. Also, the RDX currently has one as well. So I may have forgotten one or two vehicles. So essentially what happens is, there are some software glitches that could be occurring. And these transmissions, as far as, for instance, the TLX Type S does not like to be driven kind of sort of slow. So anytime you drive the car harder, it actually seems to drive better and shift better, both upshifts and downshifts. When you drive it, more on a moderate consensus or stuff, it seems to be a little bit confused. And I think what's happening is you got a lot of things going on. Obviously, there could be some software improvements. Maybe there could be some mechanical and fluid pressure improvements as well inside the transmission. But we have to think about, a lot of things going on, including VCM, these newer engines on the new pilots, TLX, MDX, and probably the new Passport have quad VCM as well. So there's a lot going on. So it's taking into the account, a throttle percentage, the gear it's in, whether or not you're down, slowing down, all of a sudden you give it more gas, or you're giving it more gas and it's ready to shift, and now you let off the gas, so it might be confused, in that instance, and just a lot of different variables going on. Also, if the car is on an incline or decline, that changes things as well, and changes some of the logic that it's reading, some of the algorithm that it's trying to calculate to, better that experiences for you. So I think it'd probably be better off being like an 8-speed. I think having 10 gears is a lot. Not sure why Honda chose this. I'm assuming to have nice short gear ratios, but also have a nice cruising RPM on the highway. But oftentimes I feel like, in my car at least, that it's an 8th and 9th gear, not even really using 10th gear until I'm cruising for a minute there or so. So again, I think it's just too many different factors, too many things going on, and the car is trying to calculate all this, trying to give you the best experience, and again, not doing the best of jobs. I think as these engines, the TCMs and the PCMs progress and start, calculating more information, maybe processing it a little bit quicker, they will get better over time. But these transmissions are fairly reliable. I've only replaced a few at our dealership, two of them being an Accord 2.0T, and one of them being basically a brand new Pilot that was had like 2,000 or 3,000 miles. So that was just something obviously happened at the factory. Something didn't get torqued properly or something along those lines. They don't let those tear us apart, so we don't really know what actually happened there. But relatively speaking, in comparison to the 6-speeds that are way more problematic, and some of the CVTs, and even the ZF9 has some weird drivability issues, but it's fairly reliable as well. So unfortunately, I don't have a clear-cut answer for you, but I just think it's a lot of things going on. And I noticed on my personal vehicle that when I do drive it more moderate, it seems to be a little bit more weird. If I put it into sport mode and don't even, drive it hard, it just holds the gears a little bit longer and, holds that shift point a little bit longer. It seems to actually drive better downshift and upshift and all those things. I just think when it's driving moderate speeds that, again, a lot of things going on, VCM, and things of those natures, quad VTC, all those things combined are just, making for a confusing outcome for the car. And again, I think it would have been better off with a couple less gears, but Honda has their reasons to have these transmissions with the 10 speeds. And again, they are very reliable besides those weird shifting points and stuff like that. So hopefully something that Honda could figure out. What's nice is that these TCMs are updatable. So as some updates do come out, I know on the TLX at least, the Type S version, they did update the software on the 24 model year. So it could be as these cars go through the mid-model cycles, there could be TCM changes and potentially, making those little changes that could be significant and make a better overall driving experience. So hopefully that answers the question for you. So the next question on this week's video is engine noise, a particular ticking sounds from the engine. Are they normal? Are they abnormal? What to look for if they are abnormal. So we'll start off by saying that direct injection engines will be louder than your port injection engine. So the injector is going to be louder and that pump's going to be louder. So if you have a direct injection engine and you previously had a port injection car, then it's going to be louder than your old vehicle. There's nothing wrong with it, unless if it's obnoxiously loud, then yes, get it checked out. But chances are what you're hearing is absolutely normal. Secondly, we could have some valve noise, valve train noise. So a couple things to look for is if it's, again, obnoxiously loud, then you're going to want to get it checked out. If it's just a normal running engine, then it's going to be fine. As these engines get older, the valves actually get tighter and require a valve adjustment to loosen them up. A loose valve is a happy valve. So remember that when doing these valve adjustments, you also have to do those valve adjustments when the engine is cold, not warm. So there's a fine line between a loose valve making noise and a over tightened valve to try to eliminate valve noise causing issues in the form of a misfire. So again, there's a very fine line there. So, and again, a loose valve is a happy valve. So if you have a engine that is ticking, you may think it's a valve adjustment. It's probably not, because these valves actually tighten up over time. They typically don't loosen up. It could, but typically don't. Now, if you have something obnoxious, then it could be something along the lines of a pitted camshaft, or something with a roller rocker or a rocker broken or something along those lines. Very common on some of the older J series and some of the older K series as well. And typically we see those is from extended oil change intervals as well. So lastly, you could have a time belt tensioner that is failing. This is only going to apply to the V6 J series, not any other Honda engine. And these do fail a lot, but those usually start off with a tapping, not so much of a ticking. And as the engine warms up, it kind of goes away. So that's kind of how you tell that it's starting to go bad. Also, you could take a flashlight at your tensioner and see if it's starting to collect some oil there and some dust on that oil. It looks a little bit greasy on the tensioner. So just a couple of things to look out for. Chances are your noises are normal. But again, if you have the feeling that it is abnormal, then it doesn't hurt to get it checked out. But a lot of these noises are normal, and there needs to be some clearances there for everything to run smoothly. So hopefully that answers this question for you. So the next question is, this person got their low pressure fuel pump recall performed and now it smells like fuel inside the vehicle. So 9 out of 10 times that's going to happen. Unfortunately, when we take out these fuel pumps, as careful as we may be, some fuel may still fall, on the area there. And, we try to clean it up, but, once it fell, it might be there for a couple days. Now, if you smell something for an extended period of time, then it's possible that either an O-ring got pinched or the locking ring didn't go on correctly and causing this smell of yours. What I do recommend is you taking your vehicle there with under half a tank of fuel. Now, we try to voice this and to our customers, although a lot of times they either forget or just don't care and come in with a fuel tank, and that's when everything kind of turns into disaster. We usually try to turn them away, but people will say, well, I'm here, I made an appointment, I don't care, I want to get it done. Great. Don't complain that your car smells like gas after we're done with it, because again, as soon as we take out that fuel pump and crack that locking ring open, some fuel spills out and there's not much we could do. Typically, it makes a mess on the outside of the car, but still it runs on the outside of the fuel tank, on the vehicle, and that's going to have a lingering smell for a while. Now, if we get some, fuel in the car, we try our best not to. We use some pig mats and stuff like that. It can still have a smell. Now, it was exposed, your tank was open, it's inside the car, so expect to have a smell for maybe 1 to 2 days, nothing too strong. Again, if it's very strong, then potentially they left something loose, and it's probably going to throw a check engine light for an evap code or something along those lines as well. But if it's just some smell for 1 or 2 days, it's absolutely normal. If you have something past that and it's very overwhelming, then obviously possibly there was a human error and something was left loose or improperly fastened. So hopefully that answers the question for you. The next question is, you have a P041. Should you change just a torque converter, or is the whole transmission replacement needed? So that really depends on a couple different things. Now, if you're throwing just the code, it's driving fine, you drain the fluid, there's no big metals in there, and you have low mileage, then it's possible that it could just need a torque converter. 9 out of 10 times, when we get these cars with those codes, this is usually a higher mileage vehicle. It's already not shifting very good. And when we drain the fluid, there could be big metal chunks in there. So that warrants a whole transmission and torque converter replacement, either with a used counterpart or a rebuilt transmission from Honda or whatever person you want to get to rebuild the transmission. I recommend personally getting something from Honda or somebody who rebuilds Honda and Acura transmissions on a pretty frequent basis and knows exactly what to change and do and gets them done properly. So again, really depends on the situation here. If you have low mileage, it's driving good, the fluid looks good, there's no big metal particles coming out. If you do drain the fluid, use a strainer of some sort to collect the fluid and pass the fluid through it and see if anything collects there. If there's the big metal shavings or particles and objects and shards and stuff on the drain plug itself, then obviously something broke inside the transmission and warrants a whole transmission replacement with the torque converter at that time. So hopefully that answers this question for you. And last but not least, question of the week. And once again, if you want a chance of one of your questions being answered, make sure you drop a comment down below. So hybrid oil changes, should you still be changing them and following the Honda maintenance minder, or should you be more aggressive? So part of me doing these brand new high pressure pump recalls that I've been doing, I've done about 40 of them so far, is these vehicles have to run for 13 hours on the hybrids and 10 hours on the non-hybrids. So on the hybrids, when I go to do the second phase of the inspection, which is taking the hydrocarbon sniffer and putting it on top of the fuel pump, we have to have it at a certain temperature of 176 degrees. Now, what happens after the car's been running for those 13 hours? It's never at 170 degrees. So 176, excuse me. So that is an issue. That means these cars are not getting to operating temperature as a normal engine would. And as you're driving it, normally not idling it for a long period of time, but still driving it, the engine is never fully running. So it is most likely not always getting to that operating temperature that it needs to be. So what happens when it's not at operating temperature? We start to see fuel dilution issues that we've seen with these 1.5Ts, fuel diluting into the oil and causing some smelling coming through the cabin and things of those nature. So thinning out the oil, things of that nature. So yes, in my personal opinion, I think you should be changing the oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles to kind of avoid these things and becoming an issue down the road. So I would personally follow that. You could go ahead and do what you want. Now, the algorithm, I don't usually agree with it, although as of late, it seems to be getting more aggressive to the point where people are actually complaining that they just got their oil change done, a month or two ago, and it needs it again. But, I guess it's calculating more stuff that it wasn't previously before, or Honda just adjusted it, or whatever the case may be. But again, if yours isn't on the more aggressive side and you have maybe an older hybrid, I would still recommend every 3 months or 3,000 miles. So hopefully that answers the question for you, and I'll catch you on the next one.